The Mean Gene Show on iHeartRadio. You can also listen on Spotify, iTunes, TuneIn Radio, Amazon Music, or wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. The Mean Gene Show airs weekly on iHeartRadio with guest professional athletes, national sports writers, and much more. We discuss the latest in the NFL, NBA, MLB, NHL, and more. Here's your host, Mean Gene.
Hey, good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Mean Gene Show, streaming live here on podbean.com on a Thursday, August 4th, 2022. Oh, man, a lot of stuff to talk about today because the excitement in my voice tells you that we are getting close to the unofficial start of the NFL season, which will take place tonight. I'll be talking about that. I'll be talking about the National Football League and the appeal of the independent judge decision regarding Deshaun Watson. That is a big time topic. I definitely have to weigh in on that and let you know my opinions. And of course, I'd like to know what you think about it as well. If you are in the Podbean live chat room, which we always have people in here. So this is going to be an interesting topic. Also, NFL training camp injuries, they are happening at a record pace here. And not only to just anyone, but these are some big names that have had some injuries some are season ending injuries and some are not, but nevertheless we're going to talk about that because, man, it happens. You hate to see it. It happens every year. And of course, man, it's just a coach's nightmare, a team's nightmare, a fan's nightmare. Pro Football Hall of Fame game tonight, as I mentioned in my opening. That's the Raiders versus the Jaguars. I will talk a little bit about that because, as you know, I do a show in Las Vegas on KDWN 720 AM 101.5 FM, and we talk a lot about the Raiders because the show is in Las Vegas, and the Raiders are in the Hall of Fame, Pro Football Hall of Fame game. And lastly, before we end the show, I'm going to talk about the Sports Kings, the Mean Gene Show, and the Picks Are In show, which will debut in Las Vegas at the Virgins Hotel, Las Vegas. You have probably heard us talk about this a lot. The Sports Kings, myself, Dustin Pfeiffer, Rudy Reyes. The Picks Are In will be hosted by Jeff Lambert, Mr. Picks, as he would like to be known by. And of course, I am the host of the Mean Gene Show. So we have a lot of stuff to talk about, and I cannot wait. Hopefully you will. We're going to try to do as many of the live shows here on Podbean because we have so many different platforms that we're on. We're doing we're actually getting into, when you see the show in Las Vegas, once, with the Sports Kings, the Mean Gene Show, and the Picks Are In, we are going to be, I think we're going to be streaming on YouTube at the same time. So this has been a challenge because I have not been a TV or camera type of a guy. I just like to focus on my content here and not worry about how I look. But this is all going to change because now I have to worry about all of that stuff. So we're going to get it right, okay? But for the most part, we're going to bring you information that you need, good sports information, and all of that stuff. So just, hey, follow the show on Twitter at Sports Kings. We're on Instagram, Sports Kings Podcast, all one word. That's how you can reach us on Instagram. And of course, we have a Facebook page, and it's called Sports Kings Podcast. All right. I know there are a lot of Sports Kings, this, that, and the other out there, but I can tell you, we are authentic, folks. We are dialed in. We have complete access to Major League Baseball, the NFL, the NBA, you name it. We got people, professional boxing. We got people there. So we're not just talking about it here. We have been there, done that, as far as talking to players and coaches and you name it and all that great stuff. So, all right, let me quickly jump into our topics here. And we're going to just start off with the hottest one here, and that's the NFL has appealed the independent judge's decision regarding Deshaun Watson. Now, my good friend, Brian Diardo. Brian is from CBS Sports. He's a senior sports writer. He writes some damn good articles Okay, if you like CBS, even if you don't like CBS, you want good information. I guarantee you, when you guys are out there searching on Google for whatever NFL topic, you're probably reading his article. I know, because I have. That's how I discovered Brian Diardo, and of course, well, Rayleigh Cadenhead, my producer, she brought him on, but I was reading his articles before I even had him on the show. But anyway, Brian has wrote a nice article about this, and and of course, he wrote a post yesterday regarding the NFL's decision to appeal. So at some point here in the very near future, we will have Brian on the show to discuss this. But so far, this is what's going on. Okay, so the NFL have formed the National Football League Players Association that it will appeal disciplinary officer Sue Robinson's decision on Watson's suspension. Okay, so this was announced on Wednesday afternoon. The commissioner, Roger Goodell, will determine who will hear that appeal. Now, under the CBA, which stands for Collective Bargaining Agreement, Goodell has the option to consider the appeal himself as well. And the NFLPA has 2 business days to file in writing a response to that appeal. So you can almost see where this is going, folks. This is going to be a very lengthy, could be ugly legal battle between the NFLPA and the league. All right. And I find it interesting though that Roger Goodell, can consider the appeal himself. So you kind of see that the NFL will ultimately have the last decision, or maybe not. It depends on how far up the legal process this thing is going to go. But the National Football League wants an indefinite suspension, and they want to have to fine, and it sort of goes along with what they normally do in the case of personal conduct violations. They came up with this rule a couple of years ago, and for the most part, anytime someone does something out there, they're going to get that suspension, and it depends on how serious it is. And this one was pretty serious, but there are so many opinions and emotions and comments about the 6 game suspension. Well, it went through a process that both the NFLPA and the NFL agreed upon, and well, the judge made her decision, and well, the NFL says, well, we're gonna appeal this because we don't like the decision. So it's something that was built in place by both parties there. And of course, now when you look outside of that, Deshaun Watson and his attorney, they have settled with everyone, I believe. Maybe there's just one more they haven't, but so that took place. Now, remember, there was grand juries that did not indict him, so which doesn't mean that he didn't do anything wrong, but they just didn't find it serious enough to pursue criminal charges, which they did not do. And of course, the Texans, the team that Deshaun Watson played for, they also settled with these women as well. So it's just a crazy thing. So all in all, it just seems like the NFL is probably being pressured to take further action because this could be a PR nightmare for them if Deshaun Watson only is suspended for 6 games. He comes out on the field and play. Now, Cleveland, the folks in Cleveland are probably going to be more forgiving than anyone, especially the ownership of the Cleveland Browns and the management there. But once that team is outside of Cleveland, they're on the road, they play who they play, it's just going to be a difficult situation. And, if you can understand the league, maybe they just want time to heal, not so fast. 6 games, hey, boom, $230 million. And to some people, it looks like this just, something that never happened, because it's bang, 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 okay, and Deshaun Watson has been out of football already for a season. So it could probably end up being 2 seasons because he got his money, which will be paid to him at some particular time. And so anyway, it's just a very, very interesting thing. And like I said, this thing could go on and on and on with the courtrooms and the NFLPA. Things could get ugly between the league and the Players Association. And it won't be the first time because it's happened many, many times. So I'd like to get your thoughts on it, though, of course, because it's very interesting. You can email me too. You can email me at sportskings@live.com. Sports Kings, plural. You got that S, two S's in there. Sports and Kings at live.com. And I do get quite a few emails, and back in the day, I used to respond to those. I used to get a whole bunch of them when we first started the Sports King, so I don't mind getting back into that. But anyway, so that's what's going on there. That's the latest on the NFL and Deshaun Watson. So stay tuned because this is going to go on and on and on. And by the time this thing is over with, hell, he probably would have already missed the whole season anyway. So I don't know. So we will keep you updated. I would keep you updated. But of course, the Sports Kings, me, Dustin Fife, and Rudy Reyes, we're going to be talking about this as well. Okay, on to training camps. Training camps is still in full form there. They are happening all over the place. And not only that is the injuries, because, the NFL has a process. They come out there with the helmets and shorts, no pads or anything like that. Yeah, they really go into this stuff gingerly. And then they got the special Guardian helmets there. I would say that they do all that they can as far as trying to prevent further, damage to the head, the brain, and all of that stuff. We know some of the things that can happen when there's a lot of head and brain damage. But one thing, it's hard for them to protect is, once they put those pads on and once they start running the drills, this, that, and the other, injuries do happen. And they just look like when you see them on the football field, it just doesn't look like an injury until you just, you know, uh, you find out later that what he did what. So anyway, let's look at some of the NFL training camp injuries. We got Broncos wide receiver Tim Patrick. Now, he was carted off the field on Tuesday with a right knee injury. And according to ESPN's Jeff Legwold, Patrick had caught a pass and cut up field when his leg buckled and send them to the ground. And oh my goodness, so we've seen that happen. We've seen that happen in the game. It happens. It happens more often than you think. It just doesn't always result in a player being out for the entire season. So Tim Patrick would not be with the Broncos wide receiving core, and this has got to be a blow to the Broncos and to Russell Wilson, who is now the new quarterback of the Denver Broncos, and he certainly was looking forward to connecting with Tim Patrick. Dallas Cowboys wide receiver James Washington to miss up to 10 weeks. All right, so he sustained a foot fracture at training camp on Monday and will need surgery. Okay, so 10 weeks doesn't mean 10 games. It means 10 weeks, so he could, possibly come back depending on how that injury is treated and how he, reacts to that treatment and heal. But you can recall now James Washington. So that's a name that if you're a Pittsburgh Steelers fan, James Washington was drafted by the Pittsburgh Steelers along with his buddy QB Mason Rudolph. They both played at Oklahoma State University. And James Washington just wasn't really active as a wide receiver that much for the Pittsburgh Steelers. I mean, we never saw the Rudolph to Washington connection like people saw at Oklahoma State. Occasionally you would see Big Ben connect with James Washington. He just wasn't utilized that much. So the Cowboys was looking forward to his services, especially after they got rid of Amari Cooper, who a lot of Cowboy fans still feel that was a big mistake. And now it's really looking like that was a big mistake. I mean, hey, injuries happen. That's why we're talking about it. And then the Cowboys are also going to be without the services of Michael Gallup, and that's just only for a little bit because he's coming back this year. It just doesn't appear that he's going to be ready for the start of the season. Maybe 2 or 3 games into the season. So big blow to the Dallas Cowboys. So you would have to wonder, and I've been talking to a lot of people about will they go after someone like Odell Beckham? Who knows? I mean, you're getting a wide receiver, a Super Bowl champion wide receiver at that, but at the same time, you get Odell Beckham, which uh, sometimes I think that's overrated. I think he did what he did in Cleveland. That system just didn't work with him and Baker Mayfield. He goes to the Rams, and the Rams they love the guy. He didn't, he's been very humble, and it might be a new Beckham, and I would be shocked if the Rams don't sign him. But the Rams are loaded. But the Cowboys, it sounds like the Dallas Cowboys need a receiver and should probably consider this guy if nothing else. But anyway, if you listen to my iHeartRadio podcast on Tuesday, you heard Sony Thompson. Now, Sony is going to be covering the Tampa Bay Buccaneers because she lives in Tampa and because she covers football from time to time, even though she's a boxing expert. But check out that show. It's on the iHeartRadio app or wherever you get your podcasts. It's out there. Okay, Spotify, TuneIn Radio, and it's the Sony. It's the Mean Gene Show with Sony Thompson. So anyway, Sony's down there covering Buccaneers training camp. She's got some great interviews. She talked with Todd Bowles last week and Mike Evans. But she also, we talked about Tampa Bay Buccaneers starting center Ryan Jensen. I think he was the first big name to actually go down. He went down with an apparent knee injury just 2 days into training camp. So it's been almost a week, and we still don't know, how severe that injury is and how long he's going to be out. But I tell you what, though, a center who Tom Brady was looking forward to having to work with, everything is so critical when it comes to Tom Brady and how his success and having that center is a key position, for any quarterback. And but man, so that was a big blow to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So man, but hey, they got look tonight. You're gonna see 100 or let's just say 99 players on both sidelines. Okay, and this is why they bring so many people into training camp, so many positions, and you got your first string, your second, and that depth chart there for um, the NFL teams is critical now because before the start of the season, they're going to get down to the 53-man roster, and I guarantee you that center, whoever's going to be that starting center for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, he's going to have to earn that spot, and I guarantee you Brady's going to have a lot to do with who that center is going to be to replace Ryan Jensen. So anyway, that's what's going on there with the injuries. And speaking of the Pro Football Hall of Fame, well, that game is tonight in Canton, Ohio. It's the Las Vegas Raiders and the Jacksonville Jaguars. So I'm just going to stop right there for a minute because I want to be the first one to tell you, if no one else has told you, that you will not see Mr. Carr out there, or will you see Trevor Lawrence? It's just not going to happen. All right. I mean, it's just not going to happen because it's training camp. I mean, it's still training camp. It's preseason, so Derek Carr is not going to be out there. Neither will Trevor Lawrence, or you probably won't even see any of the starters for none of those teams. Now, who you will probably see is going to be some of those rookies that was drafted here recently. That's you should count on that. They would definitely be out there. And let's see. I know my friend Brian Diardo wrote an article on the preseason and just sort of getting everyone prepared for that tonight. Well, he said there's going to be an expected crowd of 23,000, which that's a big crowd. Now, I've been to Canton, Ohio. I've been to that stadium. I've covered a couple of Pro Football Hall of Fame ceremonies, enshrinements, and you know what? I've never been to a game because that game is always played ahead of time. Well, you know what? It used to be played after the ceremonies, so they moved it up now. I've always just been interested in talking to some of the enshrinees and the old school guys that are hanging out there. It's just a big week, and it kicks off tonight with that game. But man, the real stuff kicks off, like tomorrow and Saturday. They do a parade in Canton with the new enshrinees. They, of course, you got the big ceremony, which will take place, and I think that's going to be on the NFL Network. And and then they have media days there where the media get a chance to interview and talk to so many of the Hall of Famers. Now, last year I went there, and of course that was last year was a special, and because they did the centennial, right? Hall of Famers, and remember 2020 they didn't have it because of COVID. In 2021 they combined the 2020 and 2021 and enshrinees, and it was just great. We did a lot of interviews. I don't think, I mean, I was, we was pretty busy doing the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Ray Lee Caden, my producer, she had a great interview with Tom Flores, who was inducted last year from the Oakland Raiders days, Oakland/LA Raider days. And then, of course, Mr. Woodson was there. Charles Woodson was there as well. We had a chance to talk with him, as well as the San Francisco 49ers GM. Well, and he was with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and John Lynch. It was just loaded last year. Troy Polamalu, Jimmy Johnson, Drew Pearson. It was, man. Now this year's inductees, we talked about that on the Sports Kings show. Definitely deserving, but man, if you've never been to Canton, Ohio, and it's not even, you don't even have to wait for the Pro Football Hall of Fame week. You just go up there because they got this museum, which is just, it's fascinating. It's really hard to describe it because you have to go there, and it's not that expensive to go. But it does get expensive around this time because everybody's going to be there. But 23,000 at that stadium, wow, that's going to be pretty interesting. And because people just are ready for football, the Raiders are going to be there, and the Jaguars, and this is why those two clubs started their training camps a little bit sooner. So, but anyway, don't expect to see the big names out there, So, uh, but it's going to be interesting from a coaching standpoint. So you get a chance to see Raiders' new head coach Josh McDaniels. Okay, remember he comes over to the Raiders after spending many years as the Patriots' offensive coordinator, and it's going to be interesting also because Josh McDaniels, it's a homecoming for him because he played his high school football at the stadium, Tom Benson High School football stadium. That's where they play that game, by the way. It's and they did renovations a couple of years ago. The first time I went there, that stadium was not as big. Now they have put a lot of money into fixing that up because it definitely didn't hold 23,000 the first time I went there. But man, so it's got to be, it's incredible. So you get, Josh McDaniels' first unofficial first game, and preseason, but he's going back home to a place where he is familiar with, and of course, Doug Peterson now is the head coach of the Jacksonville Jaguars. And remember, the Jaguars are trying to quickly get rid of the memory of Urban Meyer, who just really embarrassed the organization. And so they're just trying to sweep that under the rug and get it out the way. But anyway, Doug Peterson, Super Bowl champion with the Eagles with Nick Foles. That was a very interesting run, um, 5 years ago. But man, so Peterson, his departure from the Eagles surprised many people, including myself. But now he set out for a while. He's got a job, first year coach there with the Jacksonville Jaguars, and this is going to be great. So anyway, both teams have players that you probably want to be familiar with tonight or look out for tonight. So you got rookies for the Raiders: Dylan Parham, Matthew Butler, Neil Farrell. So you can just look for, because these guys are going to be out there trying to make plays and try to make the team. And with the Jacksonville Jaguars, you want to keep a lookout for Devin Lloyd, Trayvon Walker, of course. These linebackers, and the center Luke Fortner. So something to look forward to. I mean, look, it's gonna get boring because it's preseason, but commentators will be talking about just the whole Hall of Fame thing. So, but anyway, it's football. Okay, right now, when you have endured the month of July with basically no sports now, and I don't want to, and that's not knocking the WNBA or baseball because I watch both. Believe me, for the month of July. And then, but you got those like 3 days in July when you have nothing. Remember, because you got Major League Baseball coming off their All Star week or getting ready for their All Star week, and there's nothing. And then there might be a WNBA game on. Thank goodness. But man, it's brutal. July is a brutal sports month. You guys already know this. So that's why we get so damn excited about the first weekend in August because that's preseason football week. And just think by the end of this month, we'll be talking about college football. But anyway, it's going to be exciting. And it's you just got to watch it because I know it may not be exciting, okay, but it's football. The sound of Al Michaels and oh my goodness, Chris Collins, or if I forgot. But anyway, so I think this game is going to be on NBC or the Peacock channel, which is still NBC. But anyway, so preseason football tonight, Raiders and Jaguars. Okay, so and that brings me to my last topic here, which is about me and the Sports Kings. And the picks are in. I tell you what, we couldn't be more happier than to have an opportunity. I've done a lot of events in Las Vegas. I've hosted some Super Bowl parties out there at a few casinos. I've also we got we got the radio show out there on KDWN 720 AM, 101.5 FM. So we are locked into Vegas, but over the spring slash summer, well, I think this deal was made before the summer, so I guess we can say spring. We were able to connect with Virgin Hotels Las Vegas. So a lot of folks are still saying, Where is this place?" Okay, well, if you remember the old Hard Rock Cafe in Las Vegas, well, the guitar is not there anymore, hanging from the top of the building. It is now Virgin Hotels Las Vegas. They have put uh, millions, and I want to say hundreds of millions of dollars in renovation into this hotel slash casino because Mohegan Sun runs a casino inside there. But this place is nice. They have at least 12 to 14 restaurants of different styles. Oh my goodness, the Mexican restaurant there, Casa Calavera, very nice. This place is a resort. If you've been there, you know what I'm talking about. They have what I think 3 swimming pools out there. It's just loaded with entertainment. It is a big facility. Okay, now it's not located on the Vegas Strip, and it doesn't really have to be. When you get there to Virgin Hotels Las Vegas, you don't have to leave there. There's enough to keep you in there, and you could spend 3 days in there and not cover everything that they have to offer. They got concerts there in the theater. They have boxing there. A couple of months ago when I was there, I met some boxers because they had a big top ranked boxing does quite a few matches there throughout the year. But anyway, the Sports Kings, the Mean Gene Show, and the picks are in. We will all be broadcasting and slash podcasting from that hotel. We will be there for the next 6 months. If you want to know the dates that we're going to be there, make sure you go to our Facebook page, Sports Kings Podcast. All right, you see the red logo, Sports Kings. So Mean Gene Show and Sports Kings Podcast, sort of one and the same, but it's I do the show by myself under the Mean Gene brand, and of course I team up with other people to do the Sports King show. But so all of that information is there, and the picks are in. That's going to be a new a gambling show focused on making bets. And football season's coming up, college football season's coming up, and it's all about bets. And let me tell you, it's about bets because tonight's game The Raiders are a 2.5 favorite. Go figure. So the betting and gambling never stops in Las Vegas, but it's definitely about to ramp up there with the start of the NFL preseason. You can bet on anything in Las Vegas, but most folks, if you like to bet on football, basketball, MLB, you name it, the picks are in is the show. That show is appropriately named because you know Mr. Picks is going to give you some picks that could win you some money. So he could tell you, he could prop bets, parlays, you name it, all of that stuff. So that's what that show is going to be about. And of course, the Sports Kings, Mean Gene, Dustin Pfeiffer. I didn't mean to refer to myself in the third person. Myself, Dustin Pfeiffer, and Rudy Reyes. We're going to be just talking sports in general now. Once the football season starts, we'll get into our countdown. And if you've listened to my show over the years, every week there's a countdown. We're going to tell you who we're going to make our picks as far as who's going to win, not from a gambling perspective, but just we leave that to Mr. Picks. But we always talk about the big matches and the games. Every week we do that. So that's going to be exciting, but we're going to have a lot of guests coming on. So it's going to be some interesting things going on. Now, when we not in Vegas, we will do the show remotely, but we're still going to be um, talking about the NFL and everything and the Virgin Hotels, Las Vegas, all of that great stuff. So, and we have some new sponsors out there in addition to Virgin Hotels, Las Vegas. We have Captain, a Captain who formerly was Presidential Limousine. Well, the new name of the company is called Captain, and they are transforming the Las Vegas ride service experience for good by building a platform of sustainable vehicles and professional drivers. Visit www.captain, that's KAPTYN.com. Schedule your private car service in Las Vegas today with a Captain Premium or Lux vehicle. Now, that's what you got to do. They got they got some great cars. Now, they are also the official sponsor of the Mean Gene Show in Las Vegas. So when I'm in Vegas, I'm coming in and out of Vegas, I'm always in a Captain vehicle. And they got some great drivers, great vehicles. So that's gonna be great. So anyway, so I guess that's about it. Make sure you go to the Facebook page, and it's Sports Kings podcast, and you can see the dates that we're going to be in Las Vegas. Now, if you want to stay at the Virgin Hotels Las Vegas, and I highly recommend you do because they are going to offer 30% off. So you're gonna get a 30% discount. Those room prices are pretty good, but hotels in Vegas, they can get pricey. But man, we want you to stay at Virgin Hotels Las Vegas. Every time you come out there, we're going to entertain you. We're going to keep you going. And the hotel is going to entertain you. They got a lot of stuff going on in there. I know a couple of months ago they had Snoop Dogg there. And before that, they had Babyface. And they have a lot. The band Journey was there. Later this year, they just got a bunch of stuff. So go check out Virgin Hotels Las Vegas website, and you can see their calendar and list of events. So, okay, that's going to be it for today. All right. And I want to make sure that you enjoy the unofficial start of the NFL season tonight, and it's going to be exciting, and for some regards. So, me and the Sports Kings, we are going to do a show later tonight or this evening, tomorrow. Well, it'll be available on the iHeart Radio network, and that's going to be, or wherever you get your podcast. We're going to look at the NFC South division. Dustin Pfeiffer, who covers the Carolina Panthers and the Charlotte Hornets. I know he's been waiting on this show. So me, Dustin, and Rudy, we're going to talk about the Charlotte Hornets. Not the Charlotte Hornets. We're going to talk about the NFC South tonight. So anyway, all right, we're going to wrap it up. And I hope you've enjoyed this show. Make sure that you come back and join us for our next Podbean streaming live show. And of course, you can always, go check out the iHeart Radio shows. If you missed any of the shows, you can go to iHeartRadio, you can go to Spotify, you can get all of that stuff. So anyway, all right, this is it. We're going to wrap it up. Enjoy the game tonight. We'll see you back here again on the Mean Gene Show, streaming live here on podbean.com.